I want to tell you my story today. Not the polished version, not the highlight reel, the real one, with the parts that didn't work, the decisions I'm not proud of, and the seasons where I nearly lost everything that mattered. Because I think that's the version you actually need to hear. Right now, Sherry and I have residual income that pays. We have real estate we own. We have a method, the ranch method, that we've used to build the life we actually want to live. None of that was handed to us, and the road to it was longer and harder than I would have believed if someone had told me up front. So let me start from the beginning. I grew up on a working ranch and farm in southeastern Idaho. My family worked hard. We showed up every day. We did what needed to be done without being asked. But money was always tight. Not desperate, but tight. There was never quite enough margin, never quite enough room to breathe. Hunting was not just a hobby in our house. It was a part of how we put food on the table. I didn't really understand that fully as a kid. I just knew that's how we lived. Financial instability was the water we swam in. We didn't call it that. It was just life. Rodeo taught me how to compete. It taught me how to lose and get back in the saddle. It taught me that courage isn't the absence of fear. It is making the ride anyways. But what the ranch didn't teach me, what nobody on that ranch could teach me, because nobody knew, was how to build true wealth. How to build something that paid you back. How to turn hard work into assets instead of just a paycheck. So I did what made sense. I went to work. For nearly 20 years, I worked in corporate America, in the emergency power systems field. I started as a shop technician and worked my way up, all the way to National Critical Facilities Group Manager. I was good at my job. I knew it, my company knew it, and I provided for my family. I showed up, I delivered. But somewhere around year 15, I started noticing something. The ladder had an end. I'd climbed as far as that system was going to let me go, and there was no next rung. More years, more experience, more performance use, and it didn't matter. The ceiling was the ceiling. And I started asking a question that I never asked before. What am I actually building here? The honest answer was uncomfortable. I was building someone else's company, trading my best hours for a paycheck. And at the end of every year, no matter how well I performed, I owned nothing. I was building someone else's dream with the best years of my life. I'm going to be honest with you about something most people skip in their story. During those corporate years, I got lost. My marriage fell apart. The focus I was pouring into climbing the corporate ladder was coming from somewhere, and it was coming from home, from the people who I was supposed to be leading and who needed me the most. I got the title, but I lost the marriage. And when that happened, I didn't slow down and deal with it. I buried it in more work, which is what I knew how to do. My health suffered. I wasn't sleeping right. I was not eating right. I was drinking too much. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was running on the fumes of a machine that wasn't built for the life I actually wanted. I looked successful from the outside. Good title, good income, great performance reviews. On the inside, I was a man who had built a career and lost his life. I'm not telling you this for sympathy. I'm telling you this because I know I'm not the only man in this situation. And the version of this story that skips this chapter does you no good. Because if you ever achieved something that was supposed to make you happy and you felt nothing, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I met my current wife in 2014. That's when I met Sherry. And for the first time in a long time, I started seeing a different path. Not just a path to a relationship, a path to building something real, something that was ours, something we could be proud of and pass on. Sherry had a vision for what life could look like if we build it the right way, not the corporate way, not the ladder climbing way, a different way, one built on ownership, on residual income, on assets that work for us instead of the other way around. She showed me what it looked like to actually own something. And I'll be honest with you, it took me a while to fully believe it was possible. The ranch taught me how to work. Corporate America had taught me to climb. Neither had taught me to build anything. But something about the way Sherry approached it, the clarity of her vision, the steadiness of her faith, the way she moved toward things instead of waiting to feel ready, I recognized it as the truth. Motivation gets you started. Your why keeps you going when motivation runs out. Sherry became my why, and with that, everything started to change. In 2016, Sherry and I went to an event. We just had regular general admission tickets to get into this event. At that night at the welcome happy hour, we met a couple that was talking about a different aspect of real estate. And they was going to be talking in a VIP breakout lunch where they wasn't in the general session. So I went back to the registration desk and upgraded to VIP. At the last minute that night for the very next day. Luckily, they had a couple of tickets left, and we bought them. I didn't have a long conversation with myself about it. I just decided and moved. That next day, I sat down at a table for that lunch, and that's when I met my good friend and my mentor at that event. And guess what? He introduced me to Robert Kiyosaki at that same event. Now, I'm not telling you that because the name is supposed to impress you. I'm telling you because of what that moment taught me. The people who build real wealth do not wait until they feel ready. They do not overthink the upgrade. They see an opportunity, they make the decision, and they move. Before certainty, before comfort, before the timing is perfect. That one fast decision didn't just put me on a different table. It confirmed the whole approach Sherry and I were building toward. Vision without a timeline is a dream. Vision with a timeline is a plan. A plan with a system is a destiny. We stopped waiting to feel ready, and we started building. So that couple that we got us to buy that VIP event taught people how to start residential assisted living up. And we both was attracted to that because we both wanted to give back and serve. So we built it with the capital we had, my operational experiences, and we brought in another capital partner, using others people's money, just not all of our own, which was one of the first times I really understood that principle. You do not need to have all the money. You need to bring value to the people who do. Let me tell you, that first year was 3 times harder than anyone told us it would be. I want to say that plainly because I think the cleaned up versions of success stories does more damage than good. That first year nearly broke us. The learning curve was steeper than the pitch deck suggested. The work was harder, and the margin was thinner. But we stayed with it. We learned, we adjusted, and we built this amazing company up. Then we sold that company in 2022. Around the same time, I was introduced to my current occupation of LifeWave in network marketing. I was not looking at it as something to make money. I saw it as a health product, and I was getting my health back in line. So I was using the product. I used the product for years before we even turned it into business. But my wife was slowly communicating this with people, slowly dripping it on people. It was covering our products that we was using every month, so it wasn't costing us anything. I resisted of starting up another company. I had reasons, good ones. I thought, but the real reasons was that I still carried the skepticism most people carry about network marketing. What changed my mind wasn't a pitch. It was Sherry showing me the system and me recognizing this as a system I already know how to run. Leadership, duplication, consistent daily action. I had been doing those things in corporate America for almost 2 decades. I had never done them for myself. That's when the R.A.N.C.H method crystallized for me. Residual income from network marketing deployed into real estate. It wasn't a new idea. My wife did that back in the 80s and 90s. It was a pattern we already been living. Finally named and then put it into a system. After we sold our residential assisted living business, I had a conversation with my good friend and mentor that I really did not enjoy. We had him and his wife up to the house for dinner. He looked at me very diligently that night, and he told me I was becoming irrelevant fast. Not because I had failed, not because the business hadn't worked, because I had stepped back from building. That sell had given me a reason to start coasting. And coasting in this game is the beginning of the end. Success can make you comfortable in ways that slow failure never could. And he was right. And I knew it the moment he said it. Momentum is a living thing. It either grows or it decays. There is no holding pattern for it. I had let mine decay, and rebuilding it was harder than building it for the first time. That conversation was a gift, one of the harder ones, but a gift. It reminded me of something I had always known but needed to hear again. Consistent action is not optional. It is not a nice to have. It is the whole game. The man who shows up every day, even when the results are slow, even when the motivation is gone, even when nobody is watching, that man builds something real. The man who waits for the right moment stays exactly where he is. You do not find time. You design it. Protect what you design. Today, Sherry and I have residual income that pays us on a weekly basis. We have real estate we own, assets that compound while we sleep. We have a method, a community, and a mission to teach every person who is where I was 10 years ago that there is a different way to build. Not a shortcut, not a hustle, a system built on faith, grounded in integrity, executed with consistent daily action. I told you I would give you the real version of my story, and I hope that's what you got. the divorce, the health decline, the ceiling with no ladder left, the mentor telling me I was becoming irrelevant, the first year of our company nearly breaking us, those months and years I resisted becoming a network marketing expert because out of pride. All of it was the road. None of it was wasted. And here is what I know about you. Even though I don't know your name, you have been working hard. You have been showing up. You have been doing everything you were supposed to do. And you have hit a ceiling. And you're wondering if there's something on the other side of it. There is. I built a free training that walks you through exactly how Sherry and I built the R.A.N.C.H method, how to build residual income, how to deploy it into real estate, and how to do it without sacrificing your integrity or your family to get there. No pitch, no pressure, just the system, laid out straight from a man who has lived it. The link is in the description. It's free. Show up. A man who trades his integrity for income has made the worst deal of his life. Don't make that deal. Faith, freedom, financial independence. Now go build the rest.